concerning that they haven't taken into account these nuances and focusing on what helps teachers, what helps students. That's, I think, what we should be doing to focus on education. As well as the teacher pay raise that passed this week, that's not the end of the conversation. We're going to still focus on classroom funding, trying to decrease classroom size, because you can't just have one bill that fixes everything. You have to continuously fight for the issue and make those investments. So I look forward to reading and voting on those bills as we consider them throughout the session.
Classroom size is really good,
Yes.
and then I'll be quiet, everybody else.
That's okay, yeah.
Next question.
Speaking
Yes,
of
sir.
teachers and educating,
Yes, sir.
you were talking about teachers' pay is going to go up.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, you're going to vote for that. What about the support personnel that are
Yeah.
working? Is that going to be included in that, or is it going to be a separate bill?
It will be a separate bill. This bill was just a across the board pay raise for our teachers, but certainly a pay increase for our support professionals who do tremendous work for our schools, and I think don't often get the credit they deserve. They need to be supported as well. So certainly I think there is legislation in ways to address that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other next question?
Yes, sir.
This has to do with the retired teachers who received my bulletin on yesterday, and it has to do with House Bill 2308, I believe, 2304, and also 2398, both of which are supposed to introduce COLAs for retired teachers in the amount of about 8%. Knowing that the retired teachers have not received any type of increase in 10 years. Yes. What exactly would you want to do to ensure that we don't have to wait another decade before retired teachers receive COLA increase?
So my whole position on when you're talking about any COLA and any pension plan, and again, my background, for those that don't know, is financial sector. I'm a licensed financial advisor. Used to work for Merrill Lynch, Farm Bureau, and Farm Bureau Financial now. So you always have to look at the overall health of the fund. So if the fund can withstand a COLA, then that's what we need to do. We need to give that COLA. But at the same point in time, we can't be quick to judge or quick to act and say, well, we have to do 8%, but it's going to put the fund at a disadvantage. We have to talk about other mechanisms, which is how we did add additional funds. Now, the retired teacher fund is coming up, and I think as it stands right now, it can withstand a certain COLA. I don't know, the number will probably be negotiated, and we're freshmen, we're not going to be in on those meetings, but I've always had the stance on when it comes to COLA, it's y'all's money, it's the firefighters' money, it's the police officers, the correctional officers' money that they put into these programs. So as long as the fund in and of itself can withstand the COLA and it's still going to be a healthy fund, then I'm going to vote yes.
Yeah, our colleague, Representative Avery Cricks, I think, is working on that legislation. So I talked with him about, he's very excited to get through the committee process and hopefully see it on the floor. I do think in general, with respect to COLAs, it should be in a way that's regularly scheduled so we don't have to wait 10, 15, 20 years, like proactive with respect to that. And so that's kind of the approach that I would support when it comes to COLA.
Considering you guys are talking so much about education and your concerns regarding voting against the right to bear arms without paying money to exercise that right, have you guys put any thought into the idea of offering safety training regarding firearms into our education system? I mean, we look at, in my mind, we look at sex ed a long time ago when we said, well, gee, if these kids, they're not supposed to be doing it, so we just won't teach them about it, and that'll work out great. Of course, it didn't. And now we're sitting over here with the same mindset of, well, they just shouldn't handle them, so we'll just teach them nothing about it and hope for the best. Why are we not putting something like that in there to where, one, we could eliminate the cost of training people, we would have people getting some training, basic safety training, and the state could be paying for that.
So one of my ideals and suggestions, and I think I talked to you the other day, Rotunda, about it, was the fact that things like driver's ed or how to balance a checkbook, real practical skills, and firearms is one of those. A firearm is a tool. I mean, I think most people in here will agree with that. You put it, if Don Spencer pulled out a gun and put it on that chair and said, gun, shoot someone, it's not going to go off. It's a tool. No different than a rake or a shovel. But the thing is so many people are scared of them because they haven't been around, they haven't handled them. So, perfect example is, I was given my first gun, it was a 410 double barrel when I was 4 years old. I have a picture of it. I mean, I still have it to this day. So I've been around, I've been taught those safety procedures and everything. And the same thing with driving. I started driving a tractor when I was 7, started driving a vehicle when I was 11, but I was taught by my grandfather on our farm and stuff like that. And I think one thing we have to realize is that everybody doesn't have that raising, doesn't have those people teaching us. So
But
one
if
thing,
we're gonna be so concerned about safety and everything like that, we're putting so much money into education, which is important.
No, I agree with it. I agree.
But I mean, if we're going to be doing that, then why aren't we going over there and teaching kids a basic understanding of this, taking some of the taboo out of it, so they're not terrified or doing something goofy that they see in a movie somewhere,
No,
so they are actually learning.
no, I agree. I think that, and I think we need to bring that. I think we need to have at least some level of gun safety taught in schools. I think we also need to have some level of driver's ed that. And I would really like to see a class in school that teach people how to balance a checkbook and realize what the time value of money is. I think that's just as important as learning trigonometry, honestly.
Well, my thought is right now, I mean, if somebody is caught carrying a firearm because they didn't get that certificate, they're gonna get a felony, they can't vote, they're not gonna have a life. We're gonna add more to our huge prison population in Oklahoma, which is bigger than some nations.
Now, is it a felony or is it a misdemeanor?
Oh, it's a misdemeanor.
It's still a crime.
Right, I get it.
So we're being charged with the criminal act at this point, and my thought is that we're throwing a lot of people under the bus here. And because of the fact that they didn't get some little certificate. But don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm all for people being safe, but I think if we can teach people about, their health safety and all these other things in school, and we're so concerned about safety, let's start.
Oh, that's very 100%.
I agree with you. I remember when driver's ed used to be a part of the school system. And,
You do not remember that.
I've heard of that. Good stories, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Relations to them, yeah.
What's the proper role of government in education?
I think
You
the
know,
problem,
are we expanding to the government babysitting us education?
Well,
What happened to
Well,
reading,
I'll
writing, and
disagree with you.
arithmetic?
I'll disagree with you on that. I do think that there's an inherent value to having an educated society. I think an educated society is a society that has essentially a rising tide that's going to lift all boats. There's only one true economical way that you can snuff out poverty and snuff out crime and the causes that lead to those, and that's by giving quality education to everybody across the board. And I think that's one thing it's enumerated in our state constitution that every child in Oklahoma is going to be able to have a free education, free public education if they so choose. Now, we give parents the opportunity to opt out of that. There are situations and things where we want to homeschool our kids, or if we want to have other options. That is understandable. But one of the core foundational things of why we have society goes back to the Northwest Ordinance Act of 1796, when they started pushing expansion out to the western part of the United States, what is the modern day United States, in the Ohio River Valley, Tennessee, and Michigan. That's why they set up 2 of every township, 2 sections on every township to pay for education in that township. So I'm super passionate about that. I'm always going to be passionate about it. I think that it is one of the pillars of what government should do. It's roads, protection of its people, provide education. I truly believe it.
I agree. Yes.
I thank you, by the way, for saying like the best way for us to take care of everyone really is education, and I absolutely agree that we should, and I hope that we do include all types of education. Balancing checkbooks. How do you pay your taxes? What does insurance mean? Gun safety would be a great option, but in addition to that, we also need plenty of adults to have reminders about gun safety, because how many people make stupid mistakes and end up shooting themselves because they forgot to turn the trigger on, they forgot the safety trigger, they forgot this or that. I know someone personally who I love dearly who I remember getting that phone call about, so this happened. So just those reminders, even as we grow older. And of course, Daniel, when you and I talked, I mentioned, hell, even a 10-question reminder of your driver's license wouldn't be a terrible idea, just so that we can, be refreshed on safety, because it is important in schools, but I do think it needs to continue.
Well, to me, the aspect of all this stuff, this whole training class, to me, feels like more of a bulwark right now in impeding people's rights than it does actually actual safety training, and I'm sitting here thinking, like you were saying, I mean, we do need to, I think that would be great if we start putting that in schools. I mean, if nothing else, take the taboo out of it so kids actually have an understanding of the real world.
Well, not being
But the
excited
finance
about it.
part, I think we're looking at it so much right now, under the guise that, well, if they don't know about it, they'll just be better off if they're just completely ignorant to the topic. And I'm like, I don't think that's a winner in any book.
No, no.
Ignorance is not.
Well, well, Trey, I'll go back to what you said and building on Larry's question or comment about where the authority lies within our education program. And I agree with you when you said that it's not a one-size-fits-all. It shouldn't be a top-down from the federal government or the state government. It needs to be given to the communities and those community school boards and directly elected. And so I'd like to see programs from the U.S. government and the state government not mandated. I want to see those mandated and elected and decided upon by the local school districts. So I would agree with what you said about the importance of government being involved in education, but I'm very concerned about indoctrination and propaganda from high up as opposed to education from our teachers and our local administrators and staff.
Well, and I agree 100%. I'm not gonna speak for Daniel, I've got to agree as well, but, we don't need a top-down model. I'm a firm believer in that. I think if you let you're back in the classroom and let them teach, I think we have, less standardized testing and more, give teachers the ability to apply rigor into the classroom. So,
I think Kieran will go there.
I actually, he said everything I wanted to say. I guess just as a special education teacher in Lawton, Oklahoma, I have a different viewpoint. I have a student with budding schizophrenia. I don't want him anywhere near a gun. That he's not going to be diagnosed until after he's 18 because they don't diagnose that until after 18. I think that might work in Elgin and some of the small areas, but in some of the larger metropolitan areas where we have people with large disabilities and mental problems and things like that because of the large amounts of people here. I really think that gun training should be decided on by local school boards, like you said. Because what's going to work here won't work everywhere.
Yeah, 30 years ago when I was going to junior high school, part of our curriculum was hunter safety course. And that was taught during physical education. And that was mandatory for all students. Have you guys maybe thought about introducing something like that because that teaches you gun safety, that teaches you everything.
I took one of the hunter safety courses provided by the Oklahoma Wildlife Department. And I actually went back and took it again. My grandpa would make me and my cousin go take it every year. You got to the point where we're 14 or 15, we've been through it 4 times. Like, we really need to do this. It's a good learning process. Everything from, line of sight, or shoot don't shoot if you can't see beyond the target, the parabolic nature of how bullet travels, stuff like that. So I think that's a great point. It's something that I would be entertaining to. Right behind you.
Yes, can you please explain to me, we're in a second amendment. This says gun safety is required. Okay? This says, to paraphrase, that you should be able to bear arms and it shall not be infringed upon. Gun safety is an infringement. Okay? Now, I agree that, there's some people they should never own a gun due to their mental capacity. Okay? And the bill I've got the number 25, whatever it is. Okay? So states, about, people with a mental, mental deficiency or whatever. Okay, and all that. But I want you to explain to me where in the Second Amendment does it say gun safety? It's either you're for the Second Amendment or you're against it. There's no in between.
There's lots
I
of
agree.
in between. There's lots in between.
Where do you get the moral authority to make that vote? To defeat, where do they get the moral authority to vote against existing law? And the Constitution is the first law of the land, and you are pious enough to come along and vote against it.
Well,
some people have said that I don't say things clear enough, so I wrote this out, just so I can make sure. Now, this is a little bit long, but please bear with me.
Go ahead, please.
Our soldiers out here on Fort Sill have taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. The sacrifices our military members and their families have made have been to defend freedom and liberties guaranteed by the Constitution to the American people ever since the Constitution was ratified in 1791. Has been a very steep price because they paid their lives. Article 6, paragraph 2 of the United States Constitution assures Americans that every state that chooses to remain part of the United States has agreed that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Your oath is, as you took up under Article 15 of the Constitution, attests that your duty is to uphold the Constitution as the supreme law of the land. Every time you, as an elected official, votes to support any piece of legislation at the state capitol that violates the clear and unambiguous language of the Constitution, you are trampling on the Constitution and spitting on the sacrifices that our military members have made to defend it. So how can you show up here today and say that you have respect for the lives and the sacrifices of our military members and their family members when you vote against the very same Constitution that they give their lives to defend?
Well, that's one thing that's beautiful about this country, is that we can have different
tolerate
opinions on our interpretation of that. And so I understand that y'all disagree with that, and I get that. But my whole thing is, it's been proven in law. You take, for instance, the First Amendment. You can't run into a crowded room and yell fire. So there are some forms of limitation for public safety that they can be in place upon. And my thought process that I've had since the very beginning of the process of running for office, and I've been clear about this, is that there needs to be some mechanism that if you want to take a loaded firearm, we're not talking about owning a firearm, we're not talking about, and everybody knows the true reason for the Second Amendment is to protect from a governmental overreach. I think almost everybody here will agree with that.
That's part of it.
Okay, so if you're in a state of rebellion, the simple fact that you don't have the permit is not going to matter. So the action of owning the firearm, in my opinion, is the true nature of the Second Amendment. And I would never vote to I personally think that you should be able to own a full automatic rifle, but if you want to take that into the city of Lawton, onto public streets, then you should at least be able to show that you are proficient enough to know where the safety is, to know which end the bullet comes out of. And again, it's a foundational level of training class that I asked for, and that was where I was at on it. And I don't think that makes me a traitor. I don't think that makes me an oath breaker. That's me struggling with what I think.
Well, the state is trying to require somebody to pay for a license for something that is they're guaranteed by the Constitution.
Not
so
me.
That license, you need to pay for that license requirement needs to be going.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think you should ever have to pay for it, right? That's why I said I wanted it free. I want the class to be free, either via a grant through the government, state government, or some way, shape, or form. But I do want you to have to put the force and effort to go sit in there for 4 hours, or 5 hours, or 6 hours, however long it is, and have at least a foundational understanding, so you can't.
You only want to infringe a little bit.
Okay.
That's what you're saying.
What's the difference? What's the difference of us having to have a driver's license to drive?
Well, because driving is a privilege and not a right.
The Constitution.
You go.
Well, I was going to say too, in response to what she had said in the back. I'm sorry, I was just trying to get the right one. I was going to say too, my mother's been in special education for over 40 years. I certainly understand your concerns with the idea of someone with potentially. Not the majority of people with mental illness are not a danger to themselves or others, but there are certainly some that are. And what I was suggesting about actually doing safety training in schools, I'm not talking about actually bringing live firearms into the schools. I'm talking about bringing in firearms that would be in some way, shape, or form, at least for the initial training, would be completely deactivated, but they would at least be able to get the foundational training down. Essentially, that your student in that case would, what I was thinking would be nice for them to get the training. But at the same time, too, the worst thing they could do is knock somebody over the head. It's no more dangerous than a chair. Yeah, I mean, it would be just a blunt object at that point. It would not be an active firearm.
but going through this firearm training course, you become aware of the power of what you're holding, you carry that, you become better at it as well. There's always something you can learn more about when it comes to firearms. So I think it helps you become a better firearm owner by going through that course.
The thing that's concerning is the fact that our schools are pretty much, a lot of teachers, not all teachers think that, but some of them are joining up with a lot of these groups that kind of have this idea that, well, the best answer for safety is just get rid of all of them, just keep them all away and everything like that, and it's concerning to me when we're not.
But you mentioned the First Amendment, and I absolutely agree. It does appear to have restrictions that you cannot go into a crowded room and fire, but you're still allowed to carry your voice in there and not misuse it. And that's the exact same thing we're talking about with any other right we have. So that needs to be kept in absolute context, that even though someone else may have used their right, it doesn't mean you take it away from me. And that's exactly what's kind of going on here. Actually, Representative Caldwell, I have a lot of respect for you for the fact that you said all along you weren't going to support it this way. You've kept your word. I disagree with your vote, obviously, but you've kept your word, and I have a lot of respect for that because I deal with a lot of legislators at the state capitol. Representative Page, there's a huge problem because you filled out an OK2A survey and you said you would support constitutional carry. You also said that through the NRA that you would do the same thing. How do you justify putting something in writing, signing it, which is, by the way, scripturally consistent with Galatians 3:15, that says if you ratify something, you better keep your word. So how do you justify to one, going against the military, because this bill was directly with the military, because an 18-year-old will be able to carry. It goes directly against the Constitution. It goes directly against the word you said. How do you justify that?
I appreciate the question. Thank you for coming down to Lawton. What I would say is that I thought a lot about what it really means for constitutional carry. You know, we had legislation that we saw in the House.
I'm sorry. This is about breaking your word. It's not about constitutional carry.
Right.
This is you breaking your word with your signed oath right here.
Right. So what I would say to that is, and I'm going to do something a lot of politicians don't really do, which is be honest. So be prepared. When I filled out that survey, I acknowledged that I should have talked to more people and gotten a more holistic understanding. I should maybe shut people like you get a better understanding of what constitutional carry was and is. So that's on me. So I acknowledge that. And again, I said in my opening remarks that I'm not a perfect person. And that's probably something I should have done more research on before moving forward. And that's one thing I learned so far in the legislature is that I'm just a freshman, just like Trey. We're getting used to the process. There can be many more votes on other pieces of government legislation. And so we'll make sure of that. Exactly, yeah. And we'll have those discussions. And so this is one that I think now that I did do the research process, that I did reach out to people and experts. That's why I decided to vote based on that information. At the beginning, I should have done that more thoroughly. And that's, again, with politicians, they sometimes fill out these surveys without really thinking carefully about the consequences and implications. I won't admit that. I'm going to admit that I need to do more research on these bills, on these ideas, and I'll help me become a better elected official. So I appreciate you bringing that up with me.
Let me ask you, because you also said that you would support legislations that would, if the school board approved it, that teachers can carry in class on a valid SDA license plus any additional in the school board. Are you going to keep your word with that?
I think with that, because it goes back to the conversation of local control. If that, as long as it's the school board that gets to decide, I think that's fine. As long as it's not, you know, from the federal and state government perspective, as long as it's the school board that gets to make that call. Because I think, again, we have to give local control to our officials on the ground level. So yes.
Okay, if the local control, the school board, or whoever deems necessary decides we want slavery, are you going to support that?
No, I would
Well,
not
they want
support
to
that. No.
eliminate the 19th Amendment for women voting.
No.
Well, that's a constitutional right. So why is it you're selecting which one you support and which one you don't?
Because every bill, every idea is different. You have to take the pros and
It's one
cons.
constitution.
Right, we have different bills in here that you consider, so you have to read thoroughly and carefully.
You can see why we would be skeptical after this point when you said you would do something and then you didn't. You said you need to talk to experts. my name is on here, my phone number is on here. I am an expert. I've been in court certified to do such a thing. So any other questions that I would recommend at this point, if you have
Absolutely.
questions,
Yes, sir.
contact me. I'm sorry that I tried to be in your office, and I know you guys are busy
Yeah.
to talk to you before the vote took place.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit apprehensive about that.
Yeah, no,
But I
that's
also
fine, yeah.
knew that you said
Yeah.
you would vote for it.
Yeah, well, these gentlemen here stopped by in the office, and we stopped by in the hall and talked. We had a good conversation together. So please, I'm open to policies. If any of you want to come by, either offices.
He's been waiting.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll go back.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, I am retired Sergeant Major McClure. I joined the military in 1974, retired in 2005. I'm part of the 4th Year Retired Council. I'm also part of the Reynolds Army Community Hospital Council. I'm also part of the Citizen Police Academy. I do have a concealed carry weapon. I do have weapons in my home. Now, that's not why I'm here. The reason I'm here, because I feel everybody have to still weapons carry the way it's going now, because we don't have a plan. But the reason I'm here because of Mr. Trey Cardwell. You and Senator Montgomery put an article in the law constitution on the 13th day of fail. You and he stated that, I think you and he feel that veterans do not deserve tax exempt status.
No, sir, that's not what the bill is. This bill is, which is supported by Gary Secor and the VA and everything, what